Hi everyone, I'm Robin, and on behalf of my team, Shiven, Gokul, and Dan, I would like to welcome you to our presentation. Today, we are going to talk about a serious issue involving one of the most well-known companies in the world, that's Boeing. We focused on Boeing's supply chain and safety crisis and how it became a major challenge for management and sustainability. This isn't just about planes, it's about decisions, consequences, and the need for real change. So, why does this topic matter? Boeing is a giant in the aviation world. If you have ever flown on a commercial plane, there's a good chance it was built by Boeing. But over the last few years, Boeing has faced huge problems from aircraft crashes to production delays to massive financial losses. When I say aircraft crashes, I can give you an example of the recent air crash which happened in India. That was Air India. If you know, you might have heard in the news channel, and it was which took almost like 242 lives. And these aren't just internal issues. They have even affected the global aviation industry, economics, and most importantly, the people's trust in air travel. What happened with the Boeing shows how management decision, supply chain weaknesses, and pure communication can create a crisis on a global scale. So, in this presentation, we are going to break it all down: what went wrong, why it matters, and how Boeing can turn things around. Let's look at the context. To understand the crisis, we have first need to know a bit about Boeing's background. So, Boeing has been around over 100 years. It's one of the world's top aircraft manufacturers. Some of its famous planes include the 737, 747, and the 787 Dreamliner. Along with, we have Airbus. Boeing forms a kind of duopoly in the global aircraft market. But things started to go wrong with the 737 MAX program. There were two deadly crashes involving this aircraft, which led to global grounding of the 737 MAX. Because of this huge deadly crash, the orders were cancelled. Production was paused, and Boeing came under massive scrutiny, both legally and from the public. And it didn't stop there. Other issues started coming up, like the aircraft were facing, because of their negligence, there were loose bolts, faulty parts, and concerns about pilot training. Basically, what used to be seen as one of the safest and most trusted aviation companies suddenly had a very shaky image. So, let's talk more about the current situation. After the 737 MAX crashes, things escalated fast. The companies faced legal actions, fines, and had to make huge payouts. Internally, they discovered serious quality control issues, and financially, it's been rough. For example, they have lost all through the research. We have got a rough figure, that is, they have lost around 12 billion in 2020, then another 4 billion in 2021. And another important factor is over 400 aircraft orders were cancelled, which is very massive. And no, and also, if I want to speak about their stocks, their stock price also dropped by 50% between 2019 and 2023. And also, you are aware about the COVID-19 pandemic made everything worse. Like most of the industries, Boeing supply chain was hit hard. The factories were closed, parts were delayed, and the whole production process became unpredictable. It was a perfect storm of internal failure and external pressure. And now Boeing is in a position where it has to rebuild trust, restructure operation, and rethink how it does business. Let's look at the research aim and objectives. With considering all that in mind, we set out to investigate Boeing's situation. In this presentation, our main aim was to look at their supply chain and safety failures and how they come up with their realistic management solution. And here is what we focused on: what went wrong in their supply chain decision making, how all this affects sustainability, both in terms of the environment and the company's future, using data and models to understand the scale and the root causes of the crisis, and finally, suggesting practical short-term and long-term solution that Boeing could actually implement, which will be explained by Gokul and Dan and the later on slides. And we have some key analysis done by Shivan as well. So the goal isn't just to fix what's broken, it's to make sure Boeing becomes stronger, safer, and more sustainable moving forward. So I'll hand over to Shivan to explain about the literature review highlights. Thank you. Over to you, Shivan.
Thanks, Robin, for giving the overview of all the slides you have just spoken. Now I will walk through the theories we use to guide for our analysis. First, in lean production, this is all about reducing waste while keeping quality high. Boeing didn't follow this well during the rush of 737 MAX production, as they are using small quality products like small boards and not fixing all the products into the flights. There is total quality management, which means quality must be part of every step, not just check at the end. It should be followed from the beginning to the end. Every step should be followed through all the things. Now, we also use risk management theory to look how Boeing failed to see and act warning steps. Now, lastly, sustainable supply chain, which focuses on reduction of environment and social harm. Another area where Boeing fell short, as you are not using the step very well, it will also risking the lives of every person which you are flowing off. Now, into the next slide, I will talk about the key data points as already explained by Robin, but I will give you the key details in it. Here are some key facts that help paint the picture. Approximately 12 billion in losses in 2020 and 4 billion in 2021. Apparently, they reduced the losses by 3 times, but you are risking the lives of many people. Over 400 craft were ordered and were cancelled after 737 MAX crashes as people lost their trust with the Boeing flights. Boeing stock fell 50% between 2019 to 2023. And most importantly, public trust dropped significantly. It is exactly what people think that if you are flying off, like life should be saved and should be clear. These numbers shows that the crisis wasn't just technical, it had a massive financial and reputational effect. Now I will talk now my friend Gokul will explain about fishbone diagram root causes analysis. Thank
Thanks, Shivan. Now let's break down the root causes using a fishbone diagram. So, we identified five main reasons: management, manufacturing, training, suppliers, and technology. The management focused on profit than safety. We all know a management should focus on safety, but they choose profit over safety. During manufacturing, they rushed the production, which led to poor quality build. Training: staff and pilots didn't get proper preparation or training. Some parts from the supplies were unreliable and really cheap. Technology: Software updates were really delayed. All these issues combined led to the overall failure. Okay. Now let's look at the external pressure using the PESTLE framework. Politically, there was increased government regulations and pressure from the FAA. Economically, the company faced significant financial losses and market instability. Socially, the public trust declined sharply and passengers grew increasingly nervous. And technologically, the company struggled with complex system and delayed software integration. Legally, it was burdened with ongoing lawsuits and investigation. And last, environmentally, there was a weak focus on sustainability. Altogether, these external factors intensified the internal problems of the company was already facing. So, what can Boeing do right now? These are some short-term recommendations. So, do a strict safety checks before any aircraft is delivered. That's the most important thing. Improve quality control in manufacturing. Instead of using cheap parts, use good quality parts. This will improve the quality of manufacturing. Make internal communications more open and invest in staff training, especially for safety. These are quick changes that can stop the damage from getting worse. Now, my friend Dan will speak about the long term recommendations.
Thanks, Gokul. For the long term, Boeing now needs a full reset. At first, they should redesign their supply chain with more flexibility, backup plans, and reliable suppliers. Secondly, partner with suppliers who care about the environment and its ethics. Third, create a clear sustainability roadmap with measurable goals. And finally, use AI and other data tools to predict and manage future risk. To summarize, the big changes we recommend: put safety first. It make it Boeing's brand value. Secondly, set clear sustainability goals and share them to public. Third, be transparent with regulators and customers. Fourth, rebuilding trust through actions, not just words. If Boeing takes these actions, here's what could happen. The public trust returns, their brand reputation improves, operation becomes more stable and flexible, and also the regulators see Boeing as more reliable. But if they don't, they need to watch out for some risks too. Restructuring is expensive, employees might resist change, and also regulators will still keep a close eye on them for a while. In conclusion, Boeing's crisis didn't come from one small mistake. It came from a mix of bad decisions, poor processes, and ignoring warning signs. But the good news is Boeing can still recover by just focusing on safety, improving supply chains, and investing in sustainability and leading with transparency. They can regain trust and lead the industry again.
Thank you, Dan. And adding to the Dan's point, I would say Boeing's current crisis is not the result of a single failure. It is the outcome of multiple breakdowns across its management, supply chain, and safety system. If you remember, as I explained, the 737 MAX crashes were tragic and exposed deep flaws in how company prioritize profit, rush production and overlooked quality. We found that these internal issues were made even worse by external pressures, like, for example, you're already everybody aware about the COVID-19 pandemic, and how the government changed their rules and regulation. This all dropped, and the crashes in between, these all dropped public's trust. Our analysis using tools like Fishbone diagram and Pestle helped us understand both the root causes and the wider impact of Boeing decision. To move forward, Boeing needs to rebuild its foundation with safety at core, as my friend Dan explained. In the short term, as my friend Gokul explained, strictly quality checks should be done, and the parts that are coming from outside, that should be reliable. Don't go for cheaper parts, and there should be always the internal communication, and for as long as for the pilots, there should be a strong training provided, you know that helps Boeing to grow more, and it's also the short term solution to be a successful business. These all crisis is also a lesson for all global companies, which uses such as operational shortcuts, and poor communication can lead to long term damage. But with the right leadership, strategy, and values, recovery is possible. And thank you so much for your time and attention. We hope this presentation gave you a valuable insight into the challenges the Boeing industry is facing, and practical solution that we could help you with our research. And these are some references we have used from the Boeing's annual report, which is published in 2023. And we have Chopra and Minnal, who wrote a book from supply chain and management strategies. And we use some outside websites like news channels such as CNBC. And we have some books, which is from Statista, Bookman, JP Johns, and Rose. Thank you so much. Take care.